All right, everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are completely leaving the modern world behind. We're stepping away from the sprawling, concrete, cyberpunk cities, and we're diving headfirst into this breathtaking, misty river corridor carved right through ancient limestone mountains. We're going on a journey down the mighty Yangtze River. Specifically, we're exploring the legendary Three Gorges, starting all the way up in Fengjie and winding our way downstream to Yichang. It's a journey of absolute epic proportions, where jaw-dropping natural beauty meets literally the pinnacle of human engineering. So let's get into it. To really wrap our heads around the Yangtze, we've got to anchor our story in history. The great Tang Dynasty poet Li Bai once wrote, "Leaving White Emperor City and the morning clouds, 1,000 miles to Zhongling, returned in a single day." And wow, that just perfectly captures the sheer speed and the awe this Emerald River has inspired for millennia. For thousands of years, poets, warriors, and emperors have stared down these exact same rapids, totally captivated by their untamed energy. So that brings us to the core question for today's explainer. As we travel downstream, we have to ask ourselves, how did one single river shape the history of an entire civilization? And on the flip side, how is modern human engineering fundamentally reshaping that very same river today? It's this fascinating tension between nature and progress, and we're going to explore it gorge by gorge. Act 1. The mighty Qutang Gorge, the river gate. Okay, starting our journey chronologically downstream from Fengjie, the first thing we hit is Kuimen Gate. This is the majestic western entrance of the Three Gorges. Now, Qutang is actually the shortest gorge. It's only about 8 kilometers long, but it is undeniably the most narrow, dramatic, and just flat out intimidating. The river here is squeezed tight between these sheer vertical limestone cliffs that tower straight up into the clouds. In some spots, the channel narrows to less than 50 meters. This majestic view is so iconic, so deeply ingrained in the culture, that if you happen to have a Chinese 10-yuan bill in your pocket, you'll see this exact scene printed right on the back. Historically, whoever controlled this turbulent little choke point basically controlled inland trade and military power for the whole region. And right at the front door of this dramatic gorge sits White Emperor City. For centuries, this was an absolutely impenetrable mountaintop fortress. It's incredibly famous in Chinese history, mostly because it's where the legendary warlord Liu Bei, on his deathbed, entrusted his son and his kingdom to his brilliant strategist Zhuge Liang. But the landscape here has totally transformed. Because of the rising reservoir waters from modern damming, this ancient mountaintop fortress is now this stunning, lush island sitting right out in the middle of the river. Act 2. Mists of Wu Gorge, Myths and Memories. As that intense, violent energy of Qutang Gorge finally gives way, the river widens out of it, and the whole pace just kind of slows down. Welcome to Wu Gorge. The scenery here becomes incredibly ethereal, introspective, and almost always wrapped in this thick river fog. It's famous for its misty limestone spires known as the 12 Peaks. The most renowned of the bunch is Goddess Peak, or Shennu Feng. If you look really closely at these rock formations, you can almost see the silhouette of a maiden gazing out over the water. Ancient legends say this is the goddess Yaoji, who actually helped the mythical Yu the Great tame the Great Floods and then decided to just stay behind as a stone peak to guide and protect all the sailors navigating those treacherous waters down below. Actually, scratch that. It's not just myths hiding up in these cliffs. Suspended precariously in natural crevices on the sheer vertical rock faces, we're talking hundreds of meters above the raging river here, are the haunting, ancient hanging coffins of the Ba people. It just absolutely challenges the imagination. How in the world did early humans, thousands of years ago, manage to haul these incredibly heavy wooden coffins and wedge them into these impossible locations? It's a profound mystery, and you can still feel that mystery echoing through the gorge today. And speaking of mind-blowing human feats on the river, we have to talk about the boat trackers. Before the Yangtze was tamed by modern engineering, it was a deadly gauntlet of reefs and rapids. To get heavy wooden cargo junks upstream against that raging current, teams of men, called boat trackers, would literally strap themselves to thick ropes and haul the ships up the river by hand. They'd walk along these incredibly narrow, slippery paths carved right into the cliffside. It was a grueling, super dangerous way of life, but it perfectly defines the resilient spirit of the people who lived on this river. All right, let's take a quick breather from the history and engage our senses for a second. Because honestly, the food in this region is just as dynamic as the landscape. The absolute standout here is Wushan roasted fish. It's slow roasted, then simmered in a rich broth that is absolutely packed with local pickled peppers, mountain spices, and of course that famous numbing kick of Sichuan peppercorns. Pair that with some hearty, fresh potatoes grown by the local Tuzha ethnic group, and you've got a mouth-watering culinary tradition that perfectly matches the fiery spirit of the gorges. So, think about the sheer contrast of what we just discussed. On one hand, you have perilous, wild waters navigated by hand-poled wooden junks, where humans were completely at the mercy of nature. But today, thanks to incredible engineering, those very same waters are calm, deep, and heavily regulated to carry colossal megabarges seamlessly through the mountains. Humanity has fundamentally shifted from just surviving the river to actively controlling it.
Act 3. Xiling and the Dam. Taming the Dragon.
Moving into Xiling, which is the longest of the Three Gorges, this is where ancient, beautiful wilderness meets the absolute pinnacle of modern industrial might. The landscape is still super lush, dotted with these vibrant green orange groves clinging to the cliffs. But there is a massive human story here. To make way for the reservoir, the water level was raised by over 100 meters, which meant relocating over 1 million people. Entire ancient towns and farmlands were completely submerged, and brand new, modern terraced villages had to be built on the elevated shorelines above. It's a profound sacrifice made in the name of progress. And what exactly was all that progress for? Let's put this into perspective with one staggering number: 185. That is the height, in meters, of the Three Gorges Dam. It is a sheer wall of concrete rising 185 meters high and stretching over 2,300 meters across the river. To build this thing, engineers poured so much concrete that if you laid it all out, you could build a highway all the way from Beijing to Shanghai. It is quite simply the largest power station on planet Earth. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth do you get ships past a 185-meter wall? Well, the engineering solutions are pretty unbelievable. First, for those massive cargo barges, there's a 5-stage ship lock. Think of it as a giant water staircase that slowly steps the ships up or down the river. Second, for the smaller passenger vessels, they built a mind-boggling vertical ship elevator. It literally drives the ship into a massive tank of water and then hoists the entire tank, ship, water and all, 113 meters straight up into the air in about 40 minutes. It's honestly like something out of a sci-fi movie. Act 4. Culture of the River, the enduring human element. Once we get past the dam and cruise into the city of Yichang, you start to realize something really special. Despite all the concrete and despite the massive changes to the geography, the culture of the river is still absolutely thriving. Along the banks, you can still find these beautiful pockets of traditional life, like the Three Gorges tribe's scenic area. Here, you'll see traditional diajiao lo. These are gorgeous wooden stilted houses that cling right to the steep mountainsides. It just shows this perfect, ancient harmony between the architecture of the local Tujia people and the steep, unforgiving terrain of the gorge. You can literally hear the culture alive and well here. Lively Tujia folk songs echo right across the clear water. You'll see traditional wooden fishing boats casting nets exactly the way they have for centuries, right alongside riverside farming and ancient folk customs. It just brings the gorge to life and serves as a great reminder that the heartbeat of the Yangtze is, and always has been, its people. You know we can't wrap up a trip to Yichang without talking about their signature dish. Say hello to the Yichang fat fish, or Fengjie. You can really only find this specific fish right here in this part of the Yangtze. It's famous for its soft, savory, literally melt-in-the-mouth texture. But the real magic is the broth. It's simmered into this rich, milky, almost medicinal soup that's packed with secret local herbs. After a long journey down the river, just sitting by the banks of the Yangtze and eating a bubbling pot of Fengjie, yeah, that is the absolute perfect way to end the day. So that brings us to the end of our journey, and to a pretty massive question to close out this explainer. With the wild, raging Yangtze tamed by millions of tons of concrete, what have we gained in progress? And what ancient magic was lost forever beneath the waters? I mean, we gained clean energy, safety from deadly floods, and incredible modern prosperity. But we also submerged roaring rapids, ancient cities, and the wild, poetic danger of the old gorges. It's a delicate, fascinating balance between breathtaking natural history and towering human ambition. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you wanting to learn even more about the incredible story of the Three Gorges.